Hello out there. So this is going to be my very first real video on YouTube, and it's about the issue of the miniRambo and the pins melting for the heat bed and how to do that repair yourself with confidence. The way I would normally do it is using this tool here in my soldering station. It's a hollow soldering tip, and it would vacuum the solder from the connector. But most of you don't have that, so I'll set that tool over here. We're going to do this using a normal soldering iron. So this connector down here is the one that gets damaged, specifically the first two pins here. They get really hot when the connector starts to arc and eventually starts to melt. You can change the pluggable connector, and that'll buy you some temporary relief, but eventually this part of the connector attached to the miniRambo board is going to fail. Now, the biggest challenge doing this with a single regular soldering iron is that there are 4 pins, and it's very hard to get all 4 pins off at once. However, what I would suggest doing is you take a pair of pliers. You can't do this connector any more harm than it's already been done, and you just start cutting away at the plastic. And once you've cut away at the plastic, we can actually go at it 1 pin at a time. So I'm just going to work my way around this. I'll stop chatting because I'm sure my voice is annoying. And once we get it down to the pins, I'll start talking again. You want to be careful not to damage the copper on the PCB while you gently pry up on this. There we go. We've cut away and gently pried away all the plastic. Something that's really interesting, I don't know how well it shows up, you'll actually see the carbon and the distortion on the 2 pins on the left there. You can see the blackness of them. So now we've got it to the point where it's something we can take out 1 pin at a time. So what we'll do, you can use your regular pliers for this. I just happen to have these handy. And we simply heat up 1 pin at a time with our soldering iron. Okay, this is lead-free solder. So we're going to grab a little bit of lead solder to make our lives easier. We get a little bit better flow here. There we go. So we get the pin nice and hot, and then the pin should come out on its own without too much force. Pin is being quite resistant. There we go. First pin's out. We'll start with the same trick on this one right away. That pin comes out. Go to the third pin. You don't want to pull too hard because you don't want to actually damage the PCB. Just want to apply light pressure, let the heat do the work. Okay, all 4 pins are out. Now we need to do a little bit of cleanup. Let me sweep some of these parts off here. I'm going to use some solder wick and sort of clean this up. Fresh piece of wick. Trim the Okay, now we're going to go at it one more time. I should be able to get all the holes to open up this time. There we go, that one's ready. That one's ready. That one's ready. And that one's ready. There we go. So we've got 4 pins extracted, the connector's gone. Right, we can see the nice gold-plated features there. And what we've got is we've got this really nice connector, which actually is made by assembling 2 of these. You'll see if you pass them sideways, they'll come apart. Push them sideways, they assemble. That's the way they come from DigiKey. Okay, and you'll see that the spacing is such that they'll just barely fit. With a little bit of pressure, you can get this into the board. Okay. Now, all we have to do is re-solder the joint. Wait till it flows. Okay, the soldering work is done. Now for a nice bit of cleanup, it's nice to use a little bit of alcohol. We have some alcohol swabs, but you can do it any way you like. Just to clean up some of the residue from the flux. Even this no clean solder will leave some goop behind, and I don't like the look of it, so we clean it up. It wouldn't do any harm if you didn't. And there you go. That's how you can repair your own miniRambo. And now you have screw terminals instead of a pluggable, which is just like the new INC board that you would get with a new Prusa MK3. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you found that helpful.